All right, so when you get into a Klaviyo account, there are a lot of key segments that you want to make sure you get set up. And you might not have a brand new Klaviyo account, but you definitely are using one if you're watching this video, or maybe you're using MailChimp or SendLane or something like that. But no matter what it is, these segments that I'm going to show you in this video are going to be really essential for when you're sending out your campaign emails. So you can send to different portions of the list based on the content you're sending, based on how often you're sending, things like that. If you want more context on the actual strategy based around these segments, watch my campaign strategy video. It'll be somewhere else on the channel. But my team, and I have generated a little over $3 million for various e-commerce brands. So if you are an e-commerce brand, I'm sure you'll get some value from this because we've done that exclusively through email marketing. So let's get into it. So as you can see here, these are the segments they're going to need to have and use at any given time for campaign emails. First, you've got engaged all time. This is pretty much what your full list is. This is kind of what we treat as the full list. As you can see, the definition here is the person can receive email marketing. As of recording this video, that's the definition in Klaviyo. Person can receive email marketing. And then you want it to also say that they've opened email at least once over all time. And as a kind of like a fail safe, you can add or clicked email at least once over all time, just in case it didn't track their open, because that can happen from time to time. Note for basic engaged segments that I'm about to go over below. So these can be any amount of days, because like I said, this one is kind of like your full list. It's people that have engaged at any point over all time that are actively subscribed to your list, which means they haven't unsubscribed. But for the ones below, like 30-day engaged, this could be any amount of days. This one's just 30 days for an example, but it could be 90 days, it could be 60 days, it could be 7 days, it could be 180 days. It depends on how engaged you want these people to be. And obviously, like a 180-day engaged segment, these are people that have clicked at least one time in the last 6 months, which isn't a lot, so you wouldn't really consider them engaged. But because of the definition of the segment, meaning this is the amount of days that they've shown some level of engagement in. That's why it's labeled that way. But yeah, everything else here would stay the same. You would only change the number of days. So the definition here for this segment is going to be the person, again, can receive email marketing. They've opened an email at least once in the last X amount of days, or they've clicked an email at least once in the last X amount of days. Very simple. Pretty much the same thing I just explained here. Next, you've got 90-day buyers. So again, this is another one where you can just vary the amount of days based on what you actually need. But the buyers segment is really important because these are your most valuable customers. Like, these are the people that have literally used your product for themselves. They know how well it works. If you sell a great product and they probably love the product, then they're an extremely valuable customer. So this is obviously an extremely valuable segment, and the whole goal you should have is to increase how many people are in this buyers list that are actively subscribed to your email marketing. So again, the definition here is going to be person can receive email marketing, and they've placed order at least once, note at least once, in the last X amount of days. Pretty simple. Next one is going to be an engaged buyers segment. So these are the people that have bought, but they're also engaged. This is something you're going to want to use probably less often than you would just the general buyers segment, but it's still very valuable to have if you want to just key in on the buyers that are actually engaging with your content. But again, the definition here is going to be pretty similar. It's going to be the same as this one, where the person can receive email marketing and they've placed order at least once in the last 90 days, but also add that they've opened an email at least once in the last 90 days. Next, you've got all-time buyers, X day engaged. Again, this could be any level of any amount of days that you want, but these are the people that have bought at least once over any amount of time. So in the history of the brand, they've purchased at least one time, and they are engaged in whatever amount of engagement you want them to be. This one is a little bit more targeted towards just wanting to target your buyers. So if you want to only target your best customers for any reason, but you only want engaged ones, like based on whatever level of engagement they have, that's when you'd use this. It's a little bit different from this one, and where These are people that have bought in a specific amount of days, and you don't care really as much how long they've engaged in. I know it can get confusing, but use these however you want. You can obviously mix and match them, but the ones you'll use the most here will probably just be your general engaged segments. But having these as options is extremely valuable, and that's the whole point of making this video, is so I can show you exactly how we use these for our clients. So next you got non-buyers, 90-day engaged. So usually what we'll actually use here is 30-day engaged more often. And the reason is because non-buyers that are engaged are a really interesting segment. The reason for that is because they haven't purchased yet, but they are showing interest in your content. So 30-day engaged, obviously they may have only opened one email in the last month. That's not too much. But say these people are like multi-time engaged in the last month, like they're opening emails consistently, but they haven't purchased yet. Like these are the people we want to convert. So this is a really valuable list to send like maybe a little bit higher direct response style copy to, because these people have shown some level of interest, but they're just not buying it. And obviously 90-day engage is a little bit big of an engaged like net. So you probably want to use more like 15 to 30-day engage. Make sure you're getting people that have recently clicked on the content. And then, so the definition here is going to be so that the person can receive email marketing. They've placed order 0 times over all time. Make sure this is over all time. And then they've opened an email at least 1 time in the last X amount of days. Then you've got your non-buyer segments. This is the same thing, but it's just the people that have never bought at all. Obviously, you're going to want to send this segment probably once every 2 weeks or so. It really depends on your strategy. Or like when you're running a sale or a campaign, you're going to want to send this segment saying like, hey guys, we're running a campaign, we're running this promo. It's a great time to make your first purchase. We personally do that for every single sale we run. So I 100% would recommend you do that when you're running sales, because you're running the sale anyways. You may as well let these non-buyers know about it with a targeted message, so that they actually go make a purchase. So that's a little bit of an extra tip for you. But yeah, person can receive email marketing. They've placed orders 0 times over all time. Next, you've got unengaged equals true. So this is something that's custom to our sunset unengaged flow. If you want the full process for building out a sunset unengaged flow, we've got a separate video for that on the channel. The purpose of that flow is to vet out people that are inactive on the list. The reason you want to vet them out is because if they get through that flow and they still don't engage, you just suppress them from the Klaviyo account for 2 reasons. 1, you don't have to pay for them, and 2, so that you aren't sending to a bunch of inactive profiles. So when they finish that sunset unengaged flow, they get marked as this unengaged tag, and then they obviously end up in this segment. And then at the end of every month, we go through and we just export the CSV file for the people in the segment, and we suppress them from the Klaviyo account. So again, if you want the full process on actually building that out, go to there's another video somewhere on my channel where it'll say something about like cleaning your list on autopilot. Watch that. Then you've got in welcome flow. So this is actually not a segment, or I mean it is a segment, but it's kind of has to do with the people that are in your welcome series flow. If you don't know what a welcome series is, or you don't have one set up, again, there's another video on the channel about welcome emails or the most valuable email in your Klaviyo account, something like that. But the welcome series is essentially the flow that people join when they first opt into your email list. And what we like to do is we create this segment. So if you're not going to be able to really see this here, maybe I can zoom in, maybe not. But the segment is basically, you're going to put properties about someone, and then you're going to put in welcome flow is true. And then the type is going to be Boolean. And for this to work in your actual welcome flow, so in Klaviyo, you have a flow for the people that just opted into the list. You're going to want to add a tag update or a subscriber profile property update or something like that. And then you're going to add that at the beginning of the welcome flow. And it's going to say update in welcome flow to be true. And then at the end of the welcome flow, when they leave it, you're going to say update in welcome flow to be false. So when in welcome flow is true, they're going to be in this segment. And then when they're in this segment, we exclude them from a lot of our campaign emails That way, when they're going down the welcome flow, they're not receiving all of the other campaign emails that we're sending out. So again, that might get a little bit confusing, but watch the welcome series video on my channel. It'll explain all of it in depth. But yeah, those are the core segments that we use and the core segments that we build out for every brand that works with us. If you want a full segmentation build out like this, along with a full audit of all your other email marketing operations and just finding out where you're leaving money on the table with your email marketing, I'm going to leave a link in the bio that you can click to book a call with me, learn a little bit more about me and our team and what we've done, and we can jump on a call and see how we can potentially help you do the same thing that I'm talking about here. So appreciate you watching. Also, I'm going to leave another link in the description for you to jump on my email list. I send to that list 3 to 5 times a week. Super value-based content, principles, everything like that around email marketing, sales, everything like that. So hit that link in the description to jump on that list, and hopefully I see you inside soon.